this would be a timely video to record considering I just got back from the Riskalyze conference in Palm Springs, California. Amazing conference, by the way. I highly recommend it. I noticed that there were so many advisors in the audience furiously scribbling notes and writing on their iPads. And so I wanted to record a quick video for anyone who is attending a conference, it is conference season, or who is sitting in a virtual conference or summit and is thinking about how am I going to implement all these fabulous ideas that I just heard. So a couple things I want to share. I've said this before, practice management as a discipline, and everything we learn and hear at these conferences falls under the practice management umbrella. Practice management is 15% content and concept and 85% behavioral change. This may shock some people, but you probably are never going to look at the notebook or the piece of paper that you wrote all those notes in again. And that's okay. What's actually more important is whether you were listening for the behaviors that you need to change and shape and shift, or the belief systems that you need to let go of so that you can really evolve as a leader and financial advisor. So if you are going back to your office and sharing with your team members all these fabulous, amazing ideas you just heard, I want you to stay focused on a couple of things as you debrief. The first thing is, what are the things that you heard or saw on stage that you either want to evolve into or emulate as a leader or advisor? And what I mean by that is, aside from everything else that perhaps you learn at these conferences, the most important thing that you can learn and hang on to is, what have you learned about what role you want to play in your future business? i.e., do you want to double down on being a financial planner? Do you want to step into more of a leadership and CEO role? In other words, what have you learned about your pathway and evolution as a financial advisor and practice owner? That's the first thing. The second thing is, be realistic about what you can implement and what requires a little bit more heavy lifting. So for example, you may have heard information about repricing your book of business and resegmenting, and all that stuff is fabulous, but really hard to quickly go back and implement. So I would recommend making two lists, one where there are some tactical things that you can take care of realistically over Q4, and then one that may require you to hire a coach or consultant or outside objective party to actually help you do the heavy lifting. Things like pricing and resegmenting and looking at new platforms, maybe that'll fall into that second bucket. The first bucket really should be filled with things that are, we could consider low-hanging fruit, that are low effort, high impact, and that most powerfully impact clients. So if you're thinking about what should I implement from this conference, you absolutely should be thinking about the things that will make clients feel really good about your learnings and about what you're building and about all the resources that you have. So perhaps that's bringing on Calendly. For anybody who doesn't use Calendly, it's a calendar service that enables customers and clients to take control over scheduling meetings for themselves. Also frees up a lot of time for your office. You may consider, you may have heard this in my presentation if you sat in my session, sending out a correspondence to all of your clients, whether that's done via video or email or on paper, letting your clients know that you've learned a lot over the last 18 months and level setting with them about what wealth management is and what it means to your firm, and what you've learned about clients, and what you've learned about the value of advice, and what you have coming down the pipeline for 2022. If there's one thing that you're going to do, I would recommend it be that. Strengthen the relationship with clients, communicate with them about the vision and the value of the organization. That is something that is easy to do and will absolutely have impact. On that first list, that tactical, we can get this done realistically in the next couple of weeks, I'd also put on there anything that has to do with building deeper relationships and rapport with team members. So perhaps it's instituting your first ever professional development review conversation with a team member, where you talk about, not ask them for a list of their activity and what they've accomplished in a week, but where you have a dialogue that you start having this quarter and every quarter, where you allow them to talk about things that are working for them, things that aren't, things they're excited about, personal and professional goals that they have that you might not know about. The last thing I'll say is it's really critically important to keep momentum going after a conference or a session where you've heard a lot of great things. So I would identify a person, maybe it's somebody you met at the conference, somebody you were with, somebody on your team, a coach, a leader in your organization who can serve as your proverbial battle buddy and can help you continue to keep all these ideas top of mind and hold you accountable to implementing some of the easy tactical ones this month. Okay, folks, I hope that was helpful. Remember, perfectly okay if you never look at that piece of paper again, or maybe you lost it, but you really want to think about what you've learned about yourself as an advisor and what you can immediately communicate to clients. Okay, hope that was helpful. See you next week, same place, same time. Take care.